years of strength, will, and desire, building a future for me and you. Let's get inspired and shine the spotlight on the 𝗠CUSW. Hello, and welcome to the 𝗠CUSW Spotlight Podcast, brought to you by the Canadian Union of Skilled Workers, established in 1999. 𝗠CUSW has been empowering its members and shaping the future of skilled trades for over 25 years. In this podcast, we shine a spotlight on the people, stories, and values that make 𝗠CUSW a strong and dynamic community. It's an exciting time to be part of this union, and we're here to celebrate the journey, achievements, and dedication of skilled workers. So turn up the volume and let's get started. Here's your host for the 𝗠CUSW Spotlight Podcast, Mr. Dan Plexman.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this episode of the 𝗠CUSW Spotlight Podcast. Today, we're going to be shining the spotlight on Rob Ellis. Rob Ellis has traveled coast to coast. He's turned devastating tragedy and personal loss into something positive. At the tender age of 18, Rob's son lost his life in a preventable workplace accident, only on the second day of employment. Rob has made a decision to turn this tragedy into something positive, the beginning of a social movement against unsafe work practices, and he's trying to do this through empowerment and through education. Rob has created My Safe Work. It's a nonprofit and a registered charity dedicated to preventing deaths, injuries, and harassment on the job site. Rob, your story starts in a place that no parent wants to be. Can you take us back to that point in time and start the story right from there?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dan. I appreciate it. And let's see if we can save a few lives today. I take a deep breath because I was very close to my son, David, who was 18 years old. He came to me and said, Dad, I just want to take on a part-time job so I can go to college and do whatever. And I said, well, that's great. Good, Dave. I'm sure you'll gain a little bit of experience. Sure enough, next day he found a job, and it was at a small bakery not far from where we lived. And Dave said, well, I'm going to start my job tomorrow. I said, well, that's great, Dave. He went to the job, came home at night, and I said, Dave, how'd things go? He said, oh, it's just a job. I'm just making minimum wage, and it's fine. It's okay. I should have, as a parent, just stopped right then and there and asked him a lot more questions about the job. I didn't ask him about, did you get any orientation? Did you get any training? Did you feel comfortable? Did anybody talk to you? Did anybody help you? I didn't ask him any of those questions. I was sort of just like the average Canadian parent, just, well, I don't want to embarrass my son. He's 18 years old and he can handle it by himself. Well, when you're not experienced, when you're not around moving equipment and risky situations, you're not aware of any of that kind of stuff. And as a parent, I made the mistake of not asking him those questions and preparing him. I could have just asked him the general questions. How much time did you spend on orientation? Did you feel uncomfortable around anything without even me seeing any of the environment? I just didn't know to ask him those questions. That's changed. But the second day, my son David went off to work, and they didn't give him any orientation and no training. And he was left alone on a big industrial piece of equipment. It was a mixer made in 1952 with no guards on it. No guards, no lockouts on it. And he was pulled into that mixer while he was trying to clean out the mixer.
So, geez. Yeah. This is just set up for failure right from the beginning.
Absolutely. It absolutely was. The government had come in and inspected the place many times before and had given a warning to the company to get the guards and lockouts on They didn't do it, and the government unfortunately just didn't lay the law down. That's changed too. I tell parents and I tell young students, this company was fined $50,000, and my son's supervisor was sent to jail. He was sent to jail for 22 days, served on the weekends. But it's still jail time, and it still sent a loud and clear message that we need to treat people with respect and treat them the way you would want to be treated. Give them the right orientation, give them the right training, and they'll do an outstanding job for you. But you need to treat people with respect.
Yeah, and I got to say, like a $50,000 fine and 22 days in jail, that doesn't even come close to the loss of a life. The tragedy and the ripple effect, it doesn't end. Not at a $50,000 and 22 days in jail, that's for sure.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, Dan. But I guess as a dad, I guess I could have said, okay, I'm really angry and really going to get bitter, and I'm going to try and do something that's not going to be good. Or I can just say, listen, I love my son, and my son would want me to get up off my couch, not point a finger at anybody, but try and make a difference for the future. And that's exactly what I've been trying to do for the last couple of decades. We want to try to make a change for Canada, make a change for our future young workers, make a change for our existing workers right now. I want to make sure that we feel comfortable when we're working. We're not pressured into stuff that is going to cause a lot of hurt and a lot of pain and a lot of injuries and things that we can prevent, we need to prevent. So that's exactly why I'm wearing this courageous jersey, because I think it does take a little bit of courage to stand up and say, hold on a minute. I'm not comfortable doing that. That pace is a little bit too fast for me. I don't quite understand that. I need some help. Make sure that we get orientation in place and making sure that everybody is on the same page. Dan, I think we can do that. I absolutely think we can do that.
I think so too. And especially with the day of mourning coming up, a lot of us feel the day of mourning is a time for reflection and a time to look back on our past indiscretions and some of the things that we might have overlooked. But it's really a call to action. And that's where I think you've really taken the bull by the horns.
Well, I think, Dan, that I've tried to do this, but I've been really fortunate to have people like yourself, champions that are on the same page, wanting to make Canada the best place to work and to live. I think sometimes we get focused on how much money can I make? And, am I getting an extra 25 cents or $1.50 per hour? And we get really focused on our money. We got to pay bills. I get that. I'm totally with you on that. But it's a little bit more than just earning a good living or having a really good benefit at the end, like a pension, which is really good. It's about communication. It's about building a team. It's about family. It's about having one's back covered, having somebody shout out to you and say, hey, listen, man, if you're having a bad day, I got you covered. I got you covered. It is about building something that has some positive momentum. And I think that, Dan, that champions like you are making a big difference, making a difference in CUSW, making a difference in the organizations you work with. Every single day, you're making a difference. And that momentum starts with one person like you. And you build that and it creates some momentum on the job site, helps at home, builds a stronger community. It's got a lot of positive things that you are doing for Canada.
Thanks for so much for those accolades, Rob. I appreciate that. When you say those things to me, while we're talking about your son, David, who's not with us anymore, David and I weren't in very much different situations, different time zones, different areas, different times of life. He was 18. I was 35 years old. I was given a 13% chance to survive. I was one of the lucky ones, even though my injury and my experience was so traumatic and life-changing. I'm lucky to still be here. And for you to say that I'm one of the ones making change, that really means a lot to me. But at the same time, you're the one making a bigger change. And for you to do what you've done, you're making Canada and the world a better place. And we all need more people like Rob Ellis in the world.
Well, Dan, together, that's where the strength comes. And that's what Canadians do best, is that when we're together, watch out. We can really make a change, and that change will carry on throughout the world. We have that much power, that much strength, and working together, sharing knowledge. I tell young people today that when we share knowledge, we're able to take that knowledge and put it into innovation. We need more innovation in safety. We need more innovation in building equipment and training. We need to slow things down and turn to that next generation and say, okay, help me out on this. You're really good on the IT side, and all of us are up against that. We need that IT to help us out. Now we have AI that we have to be concerned about. How can we use that tool to help us out on the job site as well? So I think we're in an exciting time. Yes, we have lost our individuals. My David, I lost, and I still talk about him every single day. But the future is really good because we're going to stand up, we're going to be strong, we're going to be courageous, and we're going to make a difference. And nobody can stop us. Nobody.
It's true. We are an unstoppable force. If I can backtrack a little bit, Rob, the process of accepting the loss of David, super hard for anybody to accept death and to accept the changes that go along with it. Was there like an actual turning point when you went from grief to, okay, I'm making a change here? Or was it like just immediate for you where you're like, okay, this is enough? From day one, you were on this boat? Or did you have to go through a process to grieve, get through it, and then make the change directly, or to make a conscious change?
Very good question, Dan. I'm a human being. I was angry. I'm a dad. I lost my 18-year-old son who I loved. So I was angry. Yes, I was.
Yeah.
But I did go through a time of grieving. I would pull over the side of the road and just wail. And it's not an easy time for anybody. I've had young students ask me this question: how did you get over it? Why didn't you get angry? Why didn't you, just want to get out and get a gun and shoot somebody? I didn't want to go in that direction because I felt that Dave really wanted me to stand up and make a difference to help protect his friends. That's what I've tried to do. The other thing, Dan, that my wife and I started to do was for 10 years after we lost Dave, we started feeding people. We fed people in the park in downtown Toronto, where most of the moms were single and most of the kids were running all over the place and not enough to eat. So every Wednesday we would feed them, and that brought us a lot of joy and a lot of hope. And we realized that a lot of people out there were in a lot worse shape than we were. So we needed to buck it up, get going, and try and help somebody along the way. So we were able to kind of help them with that.
I got to interrupt you, Rob, because the process you're talking about volunteering and giving back to the community and to society in general, it's really powerful. I never understood the power of giving. And that old saying, the more you give, the more you receive.
Yeah.
It's just so true. And it's just part of being a better person and learning about yourself and reflecting on these situations and these difficult times life throws at us. Obviously, people are looking at Rob Ellis like, yeah, he's an advocate for workers' health and safety, and he's trying to prevent injuries on the job site, and he's got such a powerful story. And here he is feeding underprivileged people and helping them. That has nothing to do with the job site, has nothing to do with the workplace. It's all about contributing to your community and making your community better and making Canada a better place to live. Like, we are setting a global standard here. You really are.
Yeah, you're right about that. I think sometimes we think, oh, well, maybe somebody else will do that. But I can tell you that if we didn't show up on a Wednesday, people were disappointed. That really had a huge impact on that. And I started inviting out some of the friends that were involved in safety. and they would bring soccer balls out and footballs out. And I mean, I didn't do anything special. I was a hot dog guy. I was the guy on mustard and relish. And they, come on, dude, give me more ketchup or give me more relish or I need more. And they would walk away with 17 hot dogs and feed a whole family.
That's probably one of your most proud and your most prestigious roles you've ever played, I bet.
I tell you what, it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and we didn't want to miss it. And we developed a lot of good relationships through that. And you realize that there are a lot of vulnerable people still in Canada. We can still help out.
Right. If we could go back to David's story a little bit, I'm feeling if he only would have just had the know-how and the knowledge to feel empowered enough to say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
this is not safe. Or even, hey, I don't understand why I'm even here. Can you explain this a little bit better to me? It's
I think as a parent, we have certain roles to play. And once our kids hit the age of 16, 17, 18, they're pretty much on their own. And I think the parents today have a bigger role to play. Students are graduating from high school and want to go work for CUSW. You want to know a little bit about the organization. You want to know a little bit about the training and the orientation that they have in their programs. I think that it's been a great conversation piece around the kitchen table. Before, I guess we only talked about money and benefits, but now we're looking for more. And the stress levels in the workplace today need to be talked about. Not just having a mild conversation, I'm stressed, you're stressed, and everybody's stressed. I want to find ways that we can bring down the stress levels in the workplace and reduce the number of suicides in our workplaces. I want to find solutions where we can help our workers. And I think that by joining forces like this, Dan, it's important that we do this, that people begin to talk about solutions, not just carry on with the stress levels that we have. We can find better solutions for this. And having an opportunity to talk to you today really makes a big difference, huge difference.
And I feel the same way talking to you, Rob. We have a real connection here, that's for sure. Ever since day one when we met in person at the conference, I think 2024, I believe. If I get back to David's story a little bit, it was obvious the protocols and the procedures weren't in place for him. That was then. Do you notice a difference in how things have changed since then? And what does refusing unsafe work look like on the job site today? And do you see David in some of the young workers that you speak with every day? You must.
I absolutely do see David and the young workers that we have today, but I will say that the young workers today are better educated. They're not holding back and asking questions. They're asking tougher questions, which is good. They're educating their peers around them. They're educating employers. We're educating unions. I think the next generation of young leaders will make a huge difference because they're just better trained. They're not doing the things that we did maybe 20 years ago. And they're sticking up their hand. Are we making a difference? Yeah, slowly. Not fast enough for me. Not fast enough for me. There were 13,000 young people that were injured in Ontario alone in 2023.
Wow.
That does not even include the number of vehicle accidents or deaths.
Right.
We've got a ways to go.
Yeah. It sure is nice to know that we are creating safer and more comfortable workspaces for everybody. And that includes every issue on the job site, from being unsafe, refusing dangerous work protocols and procedures. It also includes harassment and just creating that safe and comfortable workspace. So even though we have a long way to go, it makes me feel warm inside knowing that we are making a difference. We really are.
Yeah, Dan, I think the harassment issue is one issue that I love to bring up with young workers today because let's face it, on construction sites, we've all been faced with that one guy on the site who wants to be a bully, either verbally, physically, or whatever. And in the past, they'd get up about an inch away from your nose and tell you, you like the way your teeth look right now. Well, they're not going to be the same tomorrow if you don't get straightened up. But today, that has changed. What we're finding is that leaders are coming shoulder to shoulder with others. And they're saying, hey, let's walk together. and let's talk together and let's find a better solution. You bring stuff from different backgrounds and so on. Tell me what you're thinking and let's listen to each other. That's a much better way of walking together. And that'll eliminate a lot of that old school bullying. We don't need that on the work site. That's gone.
I look at that like a dinosaur mentality. It's such a outdated way of thinking and an outdated way of handling problems, and like just to be a good person.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not hard to do. And I'm thinking of when David lost his life in 1999. I remember the job sites I was on in 1999. I was up in northern Alberta working in a work camp, and your story about how people used to be nose to nose on a job site, and that's how men used to figure things out. It seems like such an archaic way to live, but we're only talking 1999. It's not that long ago. It's not like 100 years ago we were riding horseback. Like, we were still an advanced society back then. And I actually remember being on a job site and two guys were having an argument, and the foreman's way of settling it was telling them to go on the other side of the fence so they could fist fight and not do it on the job site.
Yeah.
And he actually said, and when you guys figure it out, come back to work.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
This was like 2 years before the millennium, before 2000. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Dan, we're inviting young people, and especially women. We want more women to come into the trades. We cannot act like back in the 1950s. This is not going to work. You know, the retention level of keeping women in the workforce is still a serious problem. We can attract them, but we can't keep them. And one of the reasons why we can't keep them is we're not treating them with respect. And we need to do better there. If they're from a different culture, a different background, treat them with respect. And we'll find out that the results will prove long-term will be much, much better. You'll be able to retain people, keep them, and build momentum. So, yeah, we got a little bit of work to do, but Dan, I'm on the Freedom 93 plan, so I...
Yeah. Myself too. I was injured at the age of 35, so that was a big joke we had for a while there. I took the Freedom 35 plan, but here I am, 53 years old this year, and I'm looking at the Freedom 75 plan. To be honest, like, yeah. I don't intend to ever retire, and when I hit 75, which I hope to do, I'm probably going to renew that to Freedom 85 if I can.
Well, champions like you, Dan, don't retire.
I don't want to call myself a champion, but yeah, I agree. Why retire if you don't have to? Keep producing, keep contributing.
That's right. Make a difference in somebody's life every single day.
And it always goes back to that same old saying that I said earlier: the more you give, the more you receive. And you can't give unless you're in it. You got to be out there. You got to put yourself in the game. You got to participate. You got to contribute to the community. And without contributing to our communities, we are never going to build a better Canada.
No, it's true. You're right about that, Dan. Absolutely right on. But you'll inspire a lot of people around you. And you got to feel good about that, because you're in a very good union, and you're going to inspire those champions around you. They're going to make a difference, and they'll go home to their own families, and they'll make a difference in their families as well. Great leadership. You got great leadership going.
Oh, I know. I am so fortunate to be part of the CUSW. I've been with the CUSW almost over 20 years now. Like I said, I don't plan on leaving. We really do have a family culture here. And speaking of the family culture that we are building and creating, and we have, I remember at the conference that you were a keynote speaking for us in 2024, you actually said the CUSW needs to change their name from the Canadian Union of Skilled Workers to the Canadian Family of Skilled Workers. So,
yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? You know, I've had the chance to speak to a lot of unions, a lot of companies across North America, and that's the one thing that stands out. And that's the one thing, Dan, I don't think that the union family has been emphasized enough. When you're joining an organization like CUSW, we've got some incredible people inside that really want you to do well. That makes a big difference. When you go to CUSW, you want to be hired to retire. You don't want to be hired to fire. And to find an organization like what you're working for, it's a family. It's a family, and they've got your back. and they want you to succeed. More than just making a paycheck. They want you to be happy at the end of every day.
Yeah, we want to supply everybody with a good paycheck so you can pay the bills and do what you need to do. But we really want to create better lives and make a better way of life for everybody. Like with unions, we always refer to each other as brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
But I've been involved with 4 or 5 different unions throughout my entire work career. And as a young man, I've learned the value of working for a union. So I tried to always work a union job just because I knew the benefits. And like any other union, we always called each other brothers and sisters. But all these other unions that I've ever partaken in or represented, I never heard the family aspect. And when you start actually looking at your union brothers and sisters as family, their safety will automatically become first concern, like just how it works.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You bang on. I think the family aspect, as I talk to thousands of people across Canada, it really is the thing that resonates with them. They spend 8 to 10 hours a day with each other. There's no one perfect family. There isn't. But when we kind of work together and bring people from different backgrounds, different ages, different cultures, and so on, it makes it interesting, makes it good. But I think that's where really good unions, where they recognize that and they leverage off that differences that everybody brings to the table. It's kind of cool to see people, especially the young people, joining your organization and feeling good about it. Family makes a difference.
Definitely. We're kind of veering off topic away from the day of mourning subject and why we brought you on the show to share your story and David's story. Even though the CUSW is such a big part of the show, obviously, but we are here for the day of mourning. And I'm just curious, did the day of mourning mean anything to you before David lost his life? Did you ever think about it?
No, I didn't. I did not. I did not. I had no knowledge of the safety world at all. My brother was in the trades and he came home safe every day, and I never really even thought about it, to be very honest about it. I thought the day of mourning was just a union day. And if you weren't part of the union, you weren't part of the day of mourning. It was a different culture. And I grew up in a small town. So I don't know. When I lost Dave, who worked for a non-union company, I realized that, hey, this is not just a union. Safety is not just tied to unions. Safety is tied to everything, everywhere. When we get in our car, it is safety. When we put down the safety belt, it is safety. So when we lose somebody, it's not just a union member. It is everybody that's involved in this. And I didn't realize, I had no idea. The lights came on for me too. I realized that, the safety issue is much bigger than I ever would have thought. And losing somebody really is painful, has a huge impact on us as a family, has a huge impact on our community, has a huge impact on Dave's friends. It is a life changer.
What you're describing is the ripple effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just doesn't stop, like dropping a big stone in an empty pond. It just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah. I'm thankful the unions just stood up for the day of mourning. That's one of the things that I want to do is I want to take the day of mourning into the high schools. We need to take the day of mourning into high schools to actually show them that people have gone before us and have made a way that's better for everybody today. But at the same time, we talk to students about what a great future there is that lies ahead.
You're hitting the nail right on the head with bringing this into the high schools. I truly believe workplace safety, it's something that needs to be learned long before our children enter the workforce, long before they get their social insurance number and apply for their first job. Right. They need to learn workplace safety. And this starts when they start getting on the school bus, learning how to get on and off safely, how to do everything safely before you get on that job site. And it needs to be made aware of.
Yeah, and I think once we start doing that, Dan, we'll have students in the position of asking more questions. And that's okay, too. Ask more questions. Yeah. Why didn't the bus driver stop? Why didn't he put out the flag? I mean, asking questions that we wouldn't have had the nerve to ask 20 years ago. But we're in a different era now. Knowledge is transferred very quickly. And it's cool. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. We want people to feel comfortable enough to stand up and speak up. You can't stand up unless you're first comfortable to speak up.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's the process. And so if we're at the point now where people are getting comfortable to speaking up and raising their hand and ask a question, the next step is standing up and stopping these preventable workplace accidents and the deaths that are happening on our job sites.
I agree with that too, Dan. I think that time is coming. We've got some courageous leaders that are being raised up, and honestly, they're going to make a huge, huge difference for all of us. And that is exciting.
It really is an exciting time that we all are in, especially with the influx of work going on in our country right now. We're at a time where we have a shortage of workers and we have the largest influx of work happening. That combination is leading to a thin workforce all across the board. So we need to take value in every worker, and we got to make sure everybody goes home every night.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. There's going to be lots of work for us in the future. So it's critical that we get our young people, especially, well-trained and ready to go for the workforce. In the first 90 days, when it's a critical period for young workers joining any organization, if they're not getting the right orientation and training, they have a possibility of hurting themselves or losing their life. And so that first 90 days is really, really important that we get that information to them. So what we're doing in high schools, I think, is pretty good, and it can only get better.
Yeah, we're providing a critical function here. We really are.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right.
Rob, I knew we weren't going to have a problem having a discussion, that's for sure. Since the day I met you, I knew you had a lot of good things to share with all of us. So we're really glad to have you on the show today. So as we dim the spotlight on today's conversation and we head towards the National Day of Mourning, we need to make sure that the Day of Mourning is not just a simple moment of reflection. We need to make this a moment of action.
Yeah. Dan, I appreciate it very much, and having the opportunity just to talk to you. You are a champion. Whether you want to call yourself that or not, you are a champion, a courageous champion. On the Day of Mourning, we do not forget. We do not forget those who have been injured or have lost their lives. We do not forget them. But we trust in each other's strength, and we go forward with a movement that will change both Canada and the world. We are powerful, and we will make a difference in the future.
Fantastic, Rob. And I want to direct everybody to go to mysafework.com.
Yeah.
Go to the website, and you need to take the pledge. You need to take the pledge to prevent workplace accidents. Take the pledge, go to the website, and you'll learn a lot of new stuff. Trust me, I guarantee you will.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Dan. Really appreciate it, man.
Thank you very much, Rob, for being a guest on the show today. And before I sign off today, if anybody wants to get in contact with Rob or myself, maybe something flicked a switch for you on the show and you need some support, you need some help, please reach out to the information page at the end of the show, and you can find us all there, and we can direct you on where to go if you need some help. On another note, because we've had such a great conversation with Rob, we've decided to have Rob on a show in the future here. And the topic of the next show will be how working union can create a better and a safer way of life for all of us. I know Rob has some really good insights on this. Stay tuned for Rob's second appearance on the CUSW Spotlight podcast. Thanks, everybody. And until next time, keep shining that spotlight nice and bright. Thanks again. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you for shining bright in the CUSW Spotlight. Let's get inspired and shine a spotlight on the CUSW.